Hey guys, it's Matt. This video will be my attempt at boiling all of reality down and everything you need to know. Well, actually, it's what you need to know is about just 2 or 3, 4 minutes. You can't say 2 or 3 minutes because that's a 666. 2, 3, or 4 minutes is all you need to know. We're going to have fun and talk about a lot of useless things that nobody really needs to know, like my opinion about what the moon is and how it's a brother from another mother, say, to the sun, things like that, things that my family would want to lock me away for if they heard me saying such things. So we'll get to just a few minutes on the most important things, your spiritual and soul essence, why it's here in this reality, just little shit like that that doesn't make any difference. And then at the end, we'll talk about again, is there a soul trap, things, but in the middle, it'll seem important to the conspiracy researcher, but it really, if you really understand who you are, what you really and truly are, you're thousands and millions of times bigger than this place. You're just having an experience. I'm going to say all that new age horse shit. You're going to put forth that new age horse shit a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But that's all that's really important. But we'll do some of the conspiracy stuff in the middle just to get it out of the way. And for this channel to survive, I'm going to need to talk about rather pedestrian issues, run-of-the-mill, or sometimes just fun stuff, like the destruction of Star Wars. That's the only way this channel will continue because my reality is it's just a half page. It's very simple to figure out once you can see it. So, oh boy. I mean, Matt, do you realize you have that disgraced symbol right across your third eye? Now, Matt, it's not very inducive to getting people to trust that your take on reality is accurate when you're doing this stupid shit. But this disgraced symbol from Penn State is right across my third eye. I can't have this. We can't remember. It was that 10 or 12 years ago. It was that old man in the shower disgracing that rune, that symbol from my alma mater, whatever that means, Penn State. Now it's disgraced again. Anyway, you're in good hands as I lead you through what this reality is and what it's for. It would be arrogant for me to come forth and say, I made all this up. No, it's not made up at all. It's what reality really is, trust me. It would be arrogant for me to say that I came up with all of this on my own. I am just a conduit or a facilitator of information that comes from all of you and the smartest people you'll ever know in terms of figuring out what this reality really is. And when it gets to me, I'm pretty good at explaining it, disseminating it out, and I have help as well here in the office. Help that only comes at night. It moves around in the dark. I can hear them working when I'm asleep. Let's get to work. How this reality works and what it's for. 2025 by Matthew McKinley, conspiracy theorist and crazy person. Matthew McKinley, me. That's Jack Burt, that's me. Throughout this presentation, I'll be presenting a series of slides for each of the general headings or topics that we're discussing, but overall, you'll see that the entire reality can be explained in less than 5 minutes. I'll also use other pictures, and I will come and go from the presentation in the same ugly Dallas frayed sweatshirt that I came to you from or in the first segment, but without that Penn State hat, that destroyed university. And even though it will be in the future from when I'm recording this now, I can hear some of you talking to me saying, Matt, you're not doing us or yourself any favors trying to explain how reality works and coming out here like a fool, like a crazy man, puppets, and you're not doing yourself or anybody any favors. You're not doing me any favors. So let me get this straight. So if I were to put a suit on and a tie and act very professional and make sure my diction, whatever that means, is perfect and my presentation is perfect, the people you're going to show this to are going to believe they're going to believe me when I say most of the major events that have ever been presented through history have been fake and false. They're going to just, oh yeah, I'm so glad you showed me this guy Matt. Is it really going to matter? No, it's not going to matter. So we'll have fun with it. Those that might be new coming into the Amish classroom as spitballers, etc., that will see this, that have a sense already that the world is not what it seems, they will still get something out of this presentation. I'll still be able to put a lot of pieces together for them because what I'm saying is things that they already know. I'm not telling anybody anything, as I've said. I'm just telling you what you already know, those that are waking up, what they already have inside them called inner knowing, where you'll say, yeah, that's how it works. That's right. I'm not telling you anything. I'm waking it up in you. We're not the old guard. The old guard's asleep in the front row. Wake me up when this stupid ass presentation. Wake me up. Oh, I came in from clearing fields. They know everything. Most of you know everything. It's just fun. But to those coming in that are new, they'll see that I possess a tiny degree of intelligence, and I'm kind of putting forth or disseminating. Almost none of this came from me. There's no original thoughts here. I'm just putting it out to you in a way you can understand, disseminating information that came from hundreds and hundreds of the smartest people about how this reality works. Do you think a professional presentation will be something you'd be able to show Aunt Ginny or your cousins? Are you kidding me? I don't think so, sir. Now, for those that go through the wake-up process where one day you realize that this world is 180 degrees away from what they told you it is, or what you believed it to be as a younger person, this is what you feel like for a little while. It was Robert the Bruce. It was when Braveheart was attacked, William Wallace was attacking him. See, look at the look on his face. That's how you feel. Now, for me, it was a very short period of time. I don't like the term dark night of the soul. That's bullshit. Dark night of the soul. It wasn't that depressing for me. I saw it immediately as wondrous, and this is incredible. This situation I'm in here is absolutely incredible. But people go through this, and you emerge on the other side with it's the greatest news of all time. Understanding what you really are, what this place is, it is the greatest news of all time. So many of you are going through this right now, and just think of the metaphor of William Wallace there. That's the dark reality itself. I'm not going to use terms like not milk just yet. I don't want anybody to think I'm crazy. That's the dark reality, and that's the look on your face. This doesn't last long. Soon you can. Now we have our tough days, like I said, like last Monday, but overall, it's the greatest news of all time, and that's literal. It's a trillion. The realizations we have now are a trillion times better than winning the lotto. Yes, than winning the lottery, the Mega Millions. That horse shit. All right, we have to start with the most important things first. You guys have heard this a million times. Oh, you're not going to say this new age shit, Matt. You're a real spiritual being that existed before birth. It existed after. Yeah, I have to. There could be some new people. Have some empathy. Or there could be some new people here. It'll be, I was going to say under 2 minutes. Now I've already used up the first 30 seconds. I better get going. I only have up to 2 minutes. Of course, we existed before birth. Of course, we will exist after death. Death is the biggest trick of this reality. Well, the entire reality is a trick from top to bottom. Death is the biggest trick of this reality, getting you to think over and over again that what comes in old age could be the end of your existence. That's ridiculous. I'm not just up here saying this trying to make myself feel good. I can't explain all the reasons I believe this, everything I've seen over the last 15 years, like the Event Horizon ship and where it went. That's kind of like where I went. I can't explain it all, but the notion of the Big Bang and the atheist notion, and we came from Monkey Man, this is ridiculous. We existed before birth as timeless spiritual beings. Matt, stop saying this new age horse. I have to say it. Remember, she stepped on the ball. We will exist after death. Death is the biggest trick of this reality. Don't you forget that if you just have a few weeks left. You're going to be fearful of death? Give me a break. That's ridiculous. No, we all have a little fear. That's just, we are in the body. We're in the avatar. We can't completely remove ourselves from those sorts of emotions. That's the purpose, the very purpose of the experience we're having now, to have a short period of time where we ponder or believe, as we're fooled for many decades, that this could be the end of existence. We existed before birth. We will exist after death. In terms of potential traps after death, we'll talk about all that later. I'm sorry I had to. This is the most important part. I mean, I had to just, I had to get it out of the way. Now we can move on to the fun stuff. As the old guard knows, I credit Tony for explaining this to me many years ago. I struggled with this, as many of you had, more than almost anything, where there's a group in power, whether it be kings, queens, emperors, senators, the rich, the powerful, and they're all assholes. Nothing is ever fixed. Everything gets worse. The damn construction on 202 and Henderson Road, the sign's still there. It's going to be another 6 months. Nothing's ever improved for the people. There's no cures. It always gets worse. How could this be? Can't one of them break the mold and actually do what's right for people? And Tony says, stop considering entities like Melvin P. Gates. Stop thinking they're the same as you, Matt. They're not the same as you. As the old guard knows, he called them a sequential spiritual incarnation. You are a higher level spiritual being, or you wouldn't be listening to this. You're a simultaneous, according to Tony. Either way, even if you don't believe this, you're higher than Melvin. You're higher than Musk, of course. These are lower creatures. It just clicked with me. And again, he didn't tell me anything. He woke up in me what I already knew. And I said, that's it. That's it. That's exactly it. Now, I don't want to consider, as I've said many times, this cast of characters up here to be spiritual beings at all. He said they are spiritual beings. They're playing a role here. The bad guy here on this place called Earth is a role player. It's here for you. It's here to wake you up. It's here so you improve. It's a lower level spiritual being. You're higher because you come in here not having any idea where you came from. You come into Earth having no clue about what or who you truly are. These people basically understand their role here, and they're rewarded by the material pleasures and magenta speedboats and lube. See, it clicked when he explained it. That's it. That's exactly it. This is a lesser spiritual entity. Now, if there's 2 different types here, then there may be 5 different types, or there may be 10 different types, or the NPC may exist. Don't ever think that the creeps of this world are the same as you spiritually. You are a higher level incarnation, taking a much bigger risk coming into this reality called Earth as Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid. Matt, you going to put that annoying jingle at the head of every section? I'm tired of it. I hear you. I'm going to get rid of it. It's even starting to annoy me, and I'm the maker of this video. Everything in this reality that's a major presentation is a trick. Everything. Even this example, everything. And there are multiple levels as to how it works. The reality that your friends and family and those that buy into the news, it may actually be a real reality for them and everything played out as the history books and as the textbooks say. But when you dive into it and start to question it, the reality, it's a false world. I should have said that, I guess, right from the beginning. Nothing here is very real. The movies like The Matrix have a lot of truth, but they make you believe that it's like, if it's a false world, then it must be a simulation or a computer simulation. No, there are a lot of other ways a world can be simulated. It doesn't have to be zeros and ones in a computer simulation. This is a very fluid, false world. Everybody, in a way, carries their own reality, but I should save that for other sections. Let's just keep it at the basic level. Major presentations of what you call authority, every single one is a trick. Forget the major presentations of history. Now, there is some reality in it. Okay, there's some reality in it. Was there a group of your ancestors just 3 or 4 or 5 generations back that fought something called a Revolutionary War? Of course. Did they believe in what they were doing if they were real spiritual beings? Of course, tricked into doing it. Of course, the whole thing is laid out as a trick. Those creeps that I just showed on stage from Bill's poster, they coordinate and have coordinated every single war. Every major war in history, they've coordinated and played both sides. But I guess I should have left that for a separate section. Okay, did the real spiritual beings that were your ancestors, they believed in it. Those that wore the red coats, they believed in it, tricked into it. But the basis of it, why it occurred, how it occurred, nothing holds up when you investigate it with a close examination. Nothing holds up. And this goes right to what a scientist believes space is. What's out there, the Oort cloud, the fart cloud, the quasars, the pulsars, the black holes. The scientists and the most intelligent here with us are the most fooled. Their instrument readings are correct. But what's coming into them is the trick itself. The trick itself is to get the real spiritual being here to believe in materialism, to keep being engrossed and encapsulated, whatever that means, in materialism for so long that they forget their spiritual selves. They're removed. That's what this dark reality is out to do, to remove them from what they really are. So maybe it's like them cutting their own umbilical cord, maybe. Anyway, let's, again, not get ahead of ourselves. The presentations, what are the Great Pyramids? We don't have time to get into it. But if you sit here and you try to figure out how they were built, you're falling for the reality trick. If you're a scientist taking readings on whatever, some sort of radio noise or X-ray telescope and what space is, and you're falling for the trick, the information coming in is to propagate the trick of materialism itself. Actually, unfortunately, I was staring at this picture as you were as I was doing that last segment. This is too important not to mention. This is the point where Lady Bird Johnson leaned over to Jackie and said, "Jackie, are you coming to hell with us? We're leaving tonight." I'm not even joking. Now, I'm not sure how many times I've said that we live in a false construct, an illusion of some kind, a Maya, a fake world. You can't say it enough, can't stress it enough, because if you keep that at the forefront, then everything breaks down, especially as you look into it and fits into the mold that it's all coming from a false world. So in just one example, who built Matt, who do you think that's still being debated by university scholars and what do they call them, Egyptologists? What are you, I'm glad you asked. I'm an Egyptologist. What the hell is that? Who built the pyramids? Nobody, in my opinion. It's part of reality itself. It's part of the trick. The reality presents millions of different permutations of the trick, all meant to draw you in and get you closer to the material side of you. There's no chance it would still be debated. Now this is one example. If anybody said, well, Matt, they're filled with sand or whatever, that's not the point here. The one specific example that I'm bringing forth, the Giza Plateau, it's not the point. Substitute this with anything in this world where it can't be figured out. We could stand for the rest of my natural life. I could present my list, my Post-it notes all over the wall. Forget the specific example if you have your explanation. It's not the point. I'll continue to use this example, though. Who built the pyramids or this cathedral at Cologne or the other million things that can't be figured out? Nobody. It's part of reality itself. It's part of the trick. We'll just continue with this example. Does it make sense that it's 2025 and they have all this laser imaging and all these scientists and all these Egyptologists when they're not getting whacked off in the coat closet, that we still don't know? That's the giveaway that it's a reality trick that we still don't know. Not just this example, insert tens of thousands of things still being debated. What happened to the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Mayan calendar over here? And who built this impossible architecture? And the Great Wall is supposed to be like hundreds of millions of bricks. And again, we have no idea how this was done, how that was done. Does that make any sense to you? That there could still be so many mysteries and even the stupid TV shows like Ancient Aliens. It's almost like they have a new discovery. That's part of the false world. That's part of the conspiracy generation machine. Somebody sent me an email recently. They're like, look at this ancient stuff they keep digging up, and it's a mystery, and it's endless mysteries, and they make TV shows out of it. That's not possible in a real world, folks. I know the old guard. You know this. But if you're speaking to Aunt Ginny, there's tens of thousands of mysteries that have been debated since the 1700s, and we're still no closer today. Well, then anybody with a freaking clue stands up in the back and says, maybe we're spinning our wheels here. Maybe these are figments of reality itself. Did you ever think of that? Maybe it's meant to lure us in like yellow breadcrumbs, pissed on breadcrumbs. Maybe this is all part of the reality trick itself. Because see, it's 2025 and you're all really smart. You all went to Harvard and Yale and you originally from Davenport. You really smart and we still can't figure all this horse shit out. I think they're still looking at old pictures of the Loch Ness Monster. But I think that was proven to be just somebody floating tires or something. But forget the Loch Ness Monster and that fake Bigfoot video. Everything else is still being debated. Now, how is that possible? In 2025, it's still being debated. See, if they ever figured it out, all these Egyptologist jerk-offs would lose their jobs. Now, this may be the only time I show the same heading or title twice, but this is too important in understanding what this world really is. A conspiracy generation machine is not a real world, folks, where almost anything you look into, if you spend enough time, it will soon show the conspiracy side, and then it'll lay out even more yellow breadcrumbs for you to follow. No real world could do that, folks. Here's one more example. There's tens of thousands we could do. We could do one a day, and I'd never be able to cover all of them for the remainder of my natural life. CERN, for example. It's two realities actually happening probably at the same time, or 100 happening at the same time. One of the biggest tricks of this reality is we all look out and see that, we all share the same reality. That's a trick of this reality. We actually don't, but I'm not sure if I'll get to that. At some point, I'll need to end the video. Look at CERN, to your friend and Aunt Ginny. Oh, it's just good scientists smashing particles together because they want to discover, don't you know, Matt? They want to discover what the origins of the universe look like in the Big Bang. Oh, sure. But then as you look into it as a conspiracy person, all these yellow breadcrumbs start to line up in front of you, like Lucy in the chocolate factory. Here they come. Put the chocolates in your mouth. Put the chocolates in your mouth. Put the chocolates in your mouth. Here they come. The conspiracies. Oh, there's 666 in the logo. Oh my God. It's CERN. It's Cernunnos. Look at the ancient Merovingian site that it sits on, or Cernunnos, the horn god, and all. Oh, we could spend years looking into all the ancient pagan rituals associated with those ancient gods or the Norse or whatever. And what are they really doing? Oh, it's related to the Mandela effect. And then the guy has the picture of Bond 1, that idiot sitting in that messed up office. He holds look, Bond 1, he's showing you it's Mandela effect. And 1,000 conspiracies. Oh, they got the statue outside of Shiva, the destroyer dance. 1,000 conspiracies. Well, Matt, you don't understand the secret societies. They plant all that to bring. Oh, sure. In every case, they've planted it and laid it out perfectly, so we get sucked in. Folks, do you see the main point, or the only point that needs to be stressed here? If you dig into an individual or specific conspiracy in this world, you've lost. This is the trick in and of itself. If your thing is to research a certain conspiracy, you've fallen for the trick, hook, line, and sinker. Now, the creeps in the minion of the outer ring of reality of the asshole dark here generally know how this reality works. They know a lot more about their role here than you do as the spiritual entity that you are. I'm not saying it all comes just from, Matt say it just comes from reality, just pops up out of flowers. I did say that, but don't take my words out of context. The creeps understand how this reality works, and they contribute whenever they can to laying down even more yellow breadcrumbs. But when they do, they usually give themselves away, and their presentations are ridiculous. Remember how we dove into, was it 10, 12 years ago? Oh, we thought we caught him. The Get Hard tunnel opening ceremony with all that creepiness underground, and then Merkel, and they all came out, and there was the 9 paired with the you-know-what number, the 11 popped up, and all this creepy stuff, and pagan rite and ritual, and all this satanic stuff. Oh, it was all there. We caught him. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we got a hold of this secret footage. It's there literally to screw with you, folks. That's what it's there for. You think if they had a ceremony where that was important, and maybe that I'm not saying they don't have creepy gods, or some people say, well, they're satanic or Luciferian. I don't know what the sequential incarnation, the Melvin P's of the world, or the Lady Gagas. I don't know who they bow down to. Quite frankly, I don't care. But if they had a ceremony for their secret, oh, Matt, that's Lucifer. Who cares? Who cares what they're up to? But if it would be secret, it would remain secret. It wouldn't be for R.T. Rupley and all this stuff. It would have never gotten out if it wasn't meant to get out. You see how that works? Because it was covered thousands of times over, including by me when I was going through that stage of my conspiracy evolution, hopefully trying to get to 12th grade, coming out, trying not to get stuck at 11th grade like Cuba Gooding Jr. in radio. But I went through it too. I covered it in many videos. But please understand, it's put there for us to lure us in as a trap, as breadcrumbs. And when the creeps do it, they understand that's part of their role, to create conspiracy whenever possible. But don't think that the creeps, in terms of the tens of thousands of things we could look at, where your friends and family see it one way and we see it another way after all the conspiracy research, to think that, again, men and women in the smoking rooms or the secret societies coordinated all that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And first grade truthers are still holding on to that the secret societies, if there's something that you're looking into, Matt, that's providing false breadcrumbs, that was put there that was put there by the secret societies. Oh my God. Next category. Reality itself is a truck and tractor pull designed to wake up certain spirits who are ready to wake up. By design. Wayne's diagram, all this craziness all around, and it gets worse and worse day by day, year by year. All of this for me? Yeah, all of this for you so you could go through a process and come out renewed on the other side. Now, this is where I fight with a lot of the truthers out there. This Matt, this son of a beach, he's saying it's all for us. And obviously, this reality's hijacked. We'll talk about that. It's hijacked, we're screwed, we're trapped, tricked, and we have no way out. Okay, I see it the other way. It's all here for us. It's supposed to be hard. It's meant to be hard. Don't really learn something sitting under a palm tree with lube. Okay, back to the truck and tractor pull. For those of you that aren't intimately familiar with this great sport, the guy sits in the damn tractor that he's pushed up to 10,000 horsepower. He moves forward in the mud, and the weight slides forward towards the tractor as the seconds go on. And per physics, I don't understand none of it, but per physics, as the weight gets very close to the tractor, the physics, it comes to a halt in the mud, and it can go no further. See, in this sport, the weight is designed to move forward. It's designed to become more and more difficult for the tractor and the tractor driver. I think the same about this reality. By design, it's getting more and more crazy, or in some cases, it's mentally for us more and more difficult to deal with until you wake up to it and see it's the greatest news of all time and see it for what it is. That doesn't mean we're not going to have some bad days. Like I said last Monday, it's not skippity-doo-dah, skip yippity day or whatever. Now, it's tough. This is no matter what we know about who we really are, this is a tough experience. But the reality is the same way. The slide of the weight forward is the breakdown, ridiculous and absurd news stories at this point that everybody should be able to see through. And at this point, guys, I think the reality that slide forward of the weight is almost at its maximum. That doesn't mean there's going to be some reset and Nibiru's going to come around the corner and that all this talk in the truth community endlessly. I'm tired of it. Oh, it's the end. Oh, we're reset. And I'm tired. You know what? Reality's been here a pretty long time, and it's going to continue to go on. All right? What's going to come in terms of some major cataclysm? You know what's going to happen? Nothing. Just like the last 4,000 times it was predicted. There's probably a long way to continue to slide until people just choose to merge with the digital, get their own brain chip. So the reality slides towards the absurd. And at this point, not a whole lot of people are waking up because the majority of us already woke up. It can't get too many more. It's like keep ringing the washcloth. There's a drop or two. Most of us, the huge bulk of who's going to wake up per this iteration of reality, we woke up between 2007 and 2015 or 2016. For some, it was back in 2001 where Greg was coming out of his test and he's trying to talk to people he didn't know that were sequestered with him in the test. He was taking night classes, but he had to take the test in the morning and take off work. He said, that can't, see what's happening on that TV right now? That can't happen. Some people saw it back then. Some people, it took really crazy things like fluid reality and the Mandela effect to see it. But at this point, when the washcloth was being wrung out in 2008, 2012, with ridiculous mall events and school events and all these things that couldn't possibly be coordinated. Matt, you don't understand. They're paid and threatened. It doesn't work anymore. The washcloth, every time we wrung it out, like a whole Niagara Falls came through. Wring out the washcloth. Niagara Falls of people waking up. Now it can't do much more. That weight is slid right to the back of the tractor, and now the washcloth, just one little drop. There's some guy waking up today in Skokie, and one person may get this message that really wasn't fully awake, and it may help for the old guard. We just get a few laughs. You know all this. We're just getting a few laughs. But this might help one person in Duluth. Or I didn't check on Duluth and Dubuque yet. I didn't go, oh God, it's going to be Trump this, Trump's doing that. Let me go check on the headlines, make sure all American cities are still here. Next section. The bad guy here is a spiritual adversary of many names. Your spiritual adversary, because if you're listening to this, you're the real spiritual being. But there's assholes inserted here that are meant to be here. They're here on purpose. They're role players. They have different names, but the key is it's all the same thing. A Christian calls it Satan. Then you've heard the bad guys here being archons or Anunnaki. I call it, go ahead, you know what I call it, not Nilk. And then there's ancient characters from old cultures. They're the pantheon of God. There's Enlil and Enki. And then there's Hades. And then there's the Nephilim and then demons and jinn and all these different bad guys. You know what it is? It's all the same thing. It doesn't matter what you call it. It basically the thousands of years history of the real spiritual being identifying the bad guy proves that there is something here that's not the same as you, and it's here to trip you up, to get in your way, so you don't do in life what you're supposed to do, experience what you're supposed to experience, learn the lessons that you're supposed to learn. You can see how ridiculous it is to dig in and choose a bad guy. If you choose anything in this world, in my opinion, you've lost. If I'm going to choose a Christian would say it must be it's Satan. It's not all these others. No, it's just a different way of describing the same thing. My not milk is very similar to your Satan. You put your peanut butter in my chocolate, your chocolate in my peanut butter. It's all the same. It doesn't matter what you call it. There's a spiritual adversary here that's designed to trip you up. And a lot of those considered to be in power here, the Melvin and Bezos, Melvin P. and Belinda Gates Foundation, they're in Santa Claus Schwab, and they have lesser minions like Alec Baldwin types and Lady Gaga types and Christine Lagarde types. They, at one point, they may have been real boy Pinocchio. At one point, maybe they were real spiritual beings. They chose to live under the dragon's wing. They chose to serve the spiritual adversary of this world. They chose a side to facilitate and propagate the trick of this reality. We can argue some other time whether they sold their soul or gave away soul tokens. I'm not going to get into that here. I don't know what type of creature Alec Baldwin is. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter. But there's different groups and different teams here playing against you. So do you think your job is to take the bait and to research its conspiracy that it puts in front of you? Is your job is Lucy in the Chocolate Factory? Oh, that's Matt, that's Lucifer. Ah. Oh, yeah, I've heard that before. It's not my first conspiracy video. Do you think it's your job to just put all the chocolates in your mouth or to walk out of the fucking factory? What do you think? You think the end of the war games, there's something to be said where he says, the only winning move is not to play? Could that be a blank drop, a blank economics, voodoo economics, a truth drop at the end of war games? The only winning move is not to play? It doesn't matter what you call it. All these, and then you get into details on each bad guy. Matt, don't you know the 33, that's 1/3, and Lucifer came down with 1/3, the angels. To me, hogwash. Any individual story about the bad guy, it's all the same thing. So the bad guy over here in Islam and the bad guy over here in Buddhism and the bad guy over here, they're all different. But your bad guy is the real bad guy. Come on, sir. It's all the same bad guy. It doesn't matter what you call it. The specific stories, come on, sir. It's easy to see what it's trying to do. It's here to block you. The entire reality is actually one long run-on sentence. You're a real spiritual being. You're here for a reason. You chose to come here, in my opinion. You're not trapped. If you're trapped, it's by your own design until you learn what you need to learn to get out. If you're trapped and you can't get out at death, it's by your own design. A spiritual part of you puts your broke spiritual ass in here to learn something. And if you don't learn it and you don't graduate, maybe you don't get out. But by your own design, by your own shackles, not the shackles of some archonic being, but just all that mindset does is give power away. So you're here to do something. And there's an adversary that's here to block you. It's one sentence. It's not that difficult. I can actually do the next category based on a screenshot of what I just saw when I went to check on Dubuque. And everything's okay. It's just a no King's Day. Oh, boy. I guess there's protests all over the United States. No kings. We want real politicians that think of the people first. You know what it should be called? Not No King's Day. No Puppets Day. In my opinion, has there ever been a real, say, president that was where they counted, those things that they put those hanging chads, what were they called? When you put the hanging chad, that's a vote, where they counted and the people decided. Has that ever happened? No, in my opinion. The entire reality is false to me. So, of course, the presentation of voting for a president, of course, you think I'm going to believe in that? Come on, sir. I mean, who would buy that? They're just puppets. But Matt, the category here, the most important part is these characters, whatever they may be, whatever type of spiritual entity they are, whether it be Donald Trump or other politicians like Chuck Schumer, that serve this thing called government. One of the most powerful weapons that the bad guy here wields, the spiritual adversary wields, is government itself. It's a gigantic weapon for the spiritual adversary. And I think I think real spiritual beings have been tricked, and they're in the House of Representatives thinking they're helping, and there's different types of incarnations. There's the sequential incarnation. But the point of this category is, do they know? Do they have secret orders? This is all bullshit. This is all what we thought when we were first grade truthers, that they all know what's going on. Almost nobody, and I have to just throw out the word almost, because I just don't know. I've never been to their eyes wide shut parties. I've never been in that final back room, which that's the whole point of this segment. I don't think there is a final bad guy. I don't think there is a boss level. They're on the frequency. In other words, I think Donald Trump knows more about how false this world is than most. He's a puppet and a role player. Can't decide basically anything important. If things are decided for the one world system, there's no separate flags and separate borders and separate countries. That's ridiculous. It's much higher up. Now, at that higher level, the creepy back room where, as Bill proposed, maybe the Baphomet does float up and give them orders. I doubt it. I don't think there is a final back room. That's just part of the reality trick. Those at the level of a U.S. president, some know a little bit more than others. Trump, who knew the least was like Obama. He believed he was a real president. He believed he did it himself. He believed in his own greatness. I mean, nobody is more tricked than a low-level president like Obama. But even at Trump's level, whatever, they believe mostly in what they're doing. They have no idea, would have no idea about how the overall reality works and their role in it. They would have no clue about what I'm putting forth. Oh, Matt, you're saying you're better than... take it the way you want. They're on a frequency. They will serve the spiritual adversary, knowing not what they do, not being in on it, not getting secret orders. That's what we thought as first grade truthers. There's millions of tens of millions of people and systems and governments that all serve it without knowing what they're doing, propagating the spiritual adversary and propagating its how powerful it becomes in this reality. Year by year, it becomes more and more powerful, more intrusive on the real spiritual being. It becomes more and more up in your business. It takes away more and more rights, and it keeps just pecking away like Andy Dufresne scraping away at the side of his prison cell. Now those that serve it, like Trump or Zelensky, we'll make fun of the auto parts king in just a moment. They know that generally a real conflict is not all. They're holding back certain arsenals, and the Russians are not allowed to use the fleet of Sukhoi 27s or Sukhoi. I think they have a Sukhoi 33. He understands in his little bucket things are not what the news presents. But overall, how this reality works, what his role is, or how he's assisting the spiritual adversary, they would have no clue as to what we're talking about here. So no kings, no puppets. No, it's the opposite of that. They think that masses protest today think that this man's trying to become a king. They can't even see the act of the play that's being laid down before them. It is very frustrating for us. And there's little tiny insignificant little puppets like Zelensky, the auto parts king, and says, "What was that from Tommy Boy? Let's do it." "Thanks, Ray." "Thank you, son. I make car parts for the American working man because that's who I am. And that's who I care about in Kyiv." Guys, I was just about to go away from this. I read the top headline just as I was clicking out of it and went back. Trump and Maduro are both amassing military forces as tensions build in the Caribbean, or to some Caribbean. I'm not clicking on it. What tensions are building what is that even? Maduro, I think, is he that same delinquent that replaced Chavez, was it? Venezuela? I mean, not milk destroyed Venezuela, not Chavez or Maduro. Pensions build. I mean, they can't even feed their own people. I mean, they can't even feed the dogs in the street of Venezuela. What tensions build? What is he talking about? You go to Jamaica, man. What tensions? Guy lying on a beach, a Rastafarian asking for another J. You got more smoke, man? Get me more smoke, man. There's no tensions. There's some war that's going to be fought in the Caribbean over what? Who has rights to a certain coral reef? What the fuck is this? Okay, guys, I guess I've lost it mentally, and this has broken down, as they all do, at about this 40-minute time period. I will do a more reciteer 4 or 5 minutes to close to try to summarize the most important parts of you, the real spiritual being, navigating through this completely ridiculous reality that's broken down before our eyes. But even like you look at the homepage here, it's like there's truth drops everywhere, even if they're unintended. The South Park pictures above Trump and Zelensky. To me, that's saying the South Park is actually more real than the presentation of politics. Maybe that's what the bot intended. There's no real person that put together this homepage for CNN. If you go to CNN headquarters Atlanta, there's probably not one person working in there. It's all bots. It's just, you look into CNN headquarters Atlanta, you expect at least some reporters walking around, just all servers or something. And it's just Chat GPT was here or something. And that's why I continue to correct its grammar. It still can't write. The South Park picture is above Trump and Zelensky. And never forget that truth drops are everywhere in this reality, guys. No real world could keep doing this. Look at it says analysis. We have to consider every little thing. What is analysis composed of? The anal. It's a truth drop. Of course it is, sir. If you get into the weeds and analyze and try to figure it out, it's telling you that's anal. That's an anal maneuver. It's right there in analysis, ANAL. That's not a joke. That's not unintentional. Everything the not milk does, everything the dark reality, the spiritual adversary does is intentional. The people like to talk about and write conspiracy books in Davenport about the JFK assassination. Right, bot? There's been books about the JFK assassination. It's ASS, in nation. Two asses in an... I didn't just make that up to be funny. That's what the reality does. We just notice it. Who would write if the word that means what happened to a certain president? Again, one of the first segments here was all major presentations are cake and a lake bullshit. But let's remember our past lessons, those in the Amish classroom. Whatever word that would be depicted in this reality to talk or to define what happened to a certain politician or to the Arch Dick Ferdinand or whatever, you're gonna who created the word if it's not intentionally meant to mock? ASS. With these people did book us into the room. We put people booked into the room. Said, where the words came from in the first place is a complete reality breakdown. This video could be 80 hours long. Who's the first person that came up with the word that depicts what happens to certain presidents when certain bad people get out of the asylums? And as I said, all cake and a lake. ASS. Where'd that come from? It comes from reality itself. How language came to be is a complete reality breakdown. If you trace it back to what they say the roots of language are, and how all the different languages share common words and terms. All dating back to Latin. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, guys. So I'm saying in a really long-winded, it's broken down. I've lost my cognitive facilities. Anal is in the word for a reason, and you have to look at words like that. That's one thing that Chiron's last. I wish him well. I don't know if he did that walk or whatever. He did a lot for us. I wish. Can anybody tell me what happened to Chiron's last? He was an expert on words and etymology and how the Notnuk uses words and its spellcraft. Chiron's last was an expert in that area. But if you look at Zelensky there with Trump, if it's broken down. 1 minute, I'll do a reciteer close, I promise. It looks like Zelensky's asking Trump for a Happy Meal. If there were no words and you had no idea who they were, and one is a real president from it was Kiev, but now it's Kyiv for some reason. What was wrong with Kiev? I don't know. Now it's Kyiv. I'm so confused. And there was no words, and you didn't know what was going on. You would think that little man is asking for a Happy Meal. He's saying, big man, I'm here from Ukraine, whatever. You got McDonald's open? I want Happy Meal. I want Happy Meal. That's what anybody would think if there was no caption. Okay, so in closing, before I've completely lost it mentally, in a very reciteer fashion, I will break down what I believe this reality is all about and just try to jam it in at the end. 4 minutes or less. Okay, go. reality is very different for different people. It all seems like we're in the same place. We're really not. There's those that are real spiritual beings that are called heart-centered reality bubble creators. Everything in this reality is contingent upon real spiritual beings that create outward. Nothing exists here without the real spiritual generator beings. I mean, nothing exists here without me and you. Kabbalion, all is mine. I stole it from there. The outer ring is called the screen or the knot milk. It has a bunch of minions and its governments and bullshit. And as we talked about, I'm not going to just reiterate what I did in just last video, but it needs to influence the heart-centered reality of the real spiritual beings to shape society in the sick way that it wants. It can't do it directly. It needs you, the real spiritual being, to believe in something, to bring it into reality. Okay, there's a lot of different types of entities here, all serving different team players. There's a lot of real spiritual beings serving the screen or the outer ring of reality or the knot milk. They have no idea who they really are, where they came from, where eventually they're going, the timeless spiritual nature of themselves. They've completely lost who they really are to the materialism. In this case, you could say the knot milk or Satan, or the bad guy here, whatever name you want to give it, has won for that individual, has done its job. Now, are there consequences to giving yourself over and asking for an apartment under the dragon's wing? Do you lose part of yourself? Some people say yes, some people say no. Okay? The training, everything that is happening to us now is, in my opinion, meant to be happening. It isn't horrible to say. In many ways, this is a school. You know how I know that? Because I've actually learned something. The facts actually line up with what's happening. This is the Rocky training ground right now. It's not what's going to happen at death or whatever. Oh, I don't care what happens at death. I don't care if there's a trick at death, because we're doing the work now and we're seeing through the trick now. We're doing the training now. We're making ourselves, like in Rocky, the best fighter we possibly can. Not that we're going to have to fight anything, but you understand what I'm saying. So it's trained or untrained. Again, this is the summary, guys. I know you've heard all this before. This is the summary, and I just have about a minute and a half left. Trained or untrained, we're doing the training now. Therefore, we take complete confidence into what's next. Whether there's a trick or not, we're trained. We've seen through it all. We've beaten the trick at every level. There's nothing that could happen that we won't be completely ready and prepared for, no matter what happens. Most of us here are finished with this reality. It continues to break down, and it's designed to continue to break down to try to get that one more drop out of the washcloth and one more person to wake up. But for the most part, there's not much more it can do in terms of waking people up. If you're either on that boat off the ship of fools at this point, or you're not. Few people will jump off the back like Rose tried to do, but it's just one-offs at this point. One-offs. We've left. We're rowing away, and they're not going to be some major cataclysm, and the knot will continue to pull its schemes and tricks, of course. The outer ring of reality what happened in 2001, what happened with the VME in 2020. It will continue to pull shit, of course, but in terms of what the end, and it's complete cataclysm, and it'll be scenes from the road and scenes from the Road Warrior, and all this. It's just going to continue on in its same ridiculous fashion, because if it were real, it would have completely melted down and fallen. Those that think it's going to melt down, completely fall apart, are looking at the world they're believing it's very real. Because if it was completely real, just like we predicted 2007, 2008, there's the economic collapse videos that we all spent so much time watching. If the financial system was real and what LIBOR was, what they told us, it would have all collapsed. The financial presentation, the meltdown, 2008, 9, 10, whatever, that's a microcosm of reality itself. We learned coming out the other side of that the whole financial system was a video game. There was no supply and demand forces. It was all 100% fake, a video game. That's just a microcosm of the entire reality. It's all fake. That's how during C the V, everything should have melted down. There should have been 90% unemployment. 1 out of 3 businesses in the West should have gone under. It all just held together. And if you think men and women did that, then you're lost. See the VME of 2020 and 2001. In many cases, this reality comes forth and shows us how supernatural it is, how impossible, whether you call it a spell or the Dark Ones, whatever they do with their grimoires, it doesn't matter. It's not very real. It's very fluid. The Mandela effect is very real to me. And to look at it or to analyze it as if it's real is falling for its trick.